Welcome back to Number System Part 3. Let's continue.
Prime factorization. 6 can be written as 2 and 3, right? 2 and 3 are said to be factors. Okay. So factorization is the process of breaking a number into factors. Factorization is the process of breaking a number into factors. For example, 24 can be written as 2 into 12. Now, prime factorization indicates that you'll have to break on the number until each and every part is a prime. So you'll have to keep on factorizing it until each and every part is a prime. So prime factorization is the process of breaking a number into smaller parts until each and every part is a prime number. It's just like a postmortem of a body. You break it up into smaller pieces, okay? So let's see, 12 can be written as 2 into 6. 6 can be written as 2 into 3. So the prime factorized form of 24 is 2 into 2 into 2 into 3. When you write it with style, that's 2 cube into 3 power 1. Is that understood? So prime factorization is the breaking of a number into smaller parts until each and every part is prime. See, 2 cube into 3 power 1, where 2 and 3 are primes and the powers are natural numbers. So the number converted into a power p into b power q into c power r into so on, where a comma b comma c etc. are prime numbers, p q r so on are natural numbers, is said to be a prime factorized form. Okay, you should break the number. Then 72, how do we break it? We'll break it as 8 into 9, or 8 is 2 cube and 9 is 3 square. So you get 2 cube into 3 square. Then 14,400. You write it as 120 into 120. 12 12s are 144 and 10 10s are. So that's 120 into 120. 120 is 8 into 15 into 8 into 15. 8 is 2 cube. 15 is 3 into 5. 8 is 2 cube. 15 is 3 into 5. So you get the value as 2 power 6 into 3 square into 5 power 1. I hope you understood what prime factorization is. It's the process of breaking a number into smaller parts until you can no further break it. Clear? Now, see 24, if I write the different ways of representing it, 1 into 24, 2 into 12, 3 into 8, 4 into 6. How many factors does it have? Factors or divisors, both mean the same thing. Okay, factors or divisors, both means the same thing. How many factors does this have? This has 8 factors. Okay, 72 can be written as 1 into 72, 2 into 36, 3 into 24, 4 into 18, 6 into 12, and 8 into 9. How many factors are there? 12 factors are there. Now why am I doing this is, once you have the prime factorized form of like this, if you have the prime factorized form, you take the powers, add 1 and multiply. Add 1 to the powers and multiply. And you will get the number of factors. See, if you want, we'll check. What are the powers here? 3 and 1. So add 1 to 3, that becomes 4. Add 1 to 1, it becomes 2. 4 2s are 8. The powers are 3 and 2. 3 plus 1 is 4. 2 plus 1 is 3. 4 3s are 12. So number of factors for 14,400 will be 7 into 3 into 3, which is 7 9s are 63. See, these are the questions that can be asked, okay, for any number. So 840 is a number that I've taken as an example. We'll break it first to get the prime factorized form. 84 into 10. 84 is 7 12s into 10, or that's 7 into 2 into 2 into 3 into 2 into 5. And you get the prime factorized form as 2 cube into 3 power 1 into 5 power 1 into 7 power 1. Okay? 2 cube into 3 power 1 into 5 power 1 into 7 power 1. This is the prime factorized form of 840. Once you get this, number of factors we already know. You just have to add 1 to the powers and multiply them. Add 1 to the powers and multiply them. You'll get your answer. This is easy. Number of prime factors. When number of prime factors is asked, it means if you expand this, you get 2 into 2 into 2 into 3 into 5 into 7. So to get the number of prime factors, you basically have to add the powers. So 3 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 6. Number of distinct prime factors, you will have to count the primes. How many different prime factors are there? There are 4. 2, 3, 5 and 7, right? There are 4 distinct prime factors. How many number of odd factors? See, to get odd factors, what we do is, you have 2 cube into 3 power 1 into 5 power 1 into 7 power 1, right? To get the number of odd factors, neglect the even one and find the number of factors directly. So you will not consider the even power and you will find the number of factors for the remaining. So number of factors, the powers is 1, 1, 1. So plus 1 and plus 1, you will get 8 as the number of odd factors. Is it understood? To get the number of odd factors, you will neglect the even term and you will find the number of factors. Then number of even factors is total factors minus odd factors. See, finding even factors is difficult. So what we do is total minus odd factors should be done and you will get the answer as 24. That's the number of even factors. Now, number of ways of expressing as a product of two factors is number of factors divided by 2. For example, see here, you have 8 factors and you wrote it as product of 2 factors in how many ways? 4 ways. You have 12 factors and you wrote it in how many ways? 6 ways. Similarly, number of factors divided by 2 will give you the number of ways of expressing as a product of 2 factors. If number of factors is odd, for example, it's 9, then number of factors divided by 2 is equal to 4.5, right? And then you will have to round it to the next number and answer as 5. Find the number of factors of 360. See, 360, we already know how to find number of factors. First you will prime factorize 36 into 10, 4 into 9 into 2 into 5, or that's 2 into 2 into 3 into 3 into 2 into 5, or 2 cube into 3 square into 5 power 1. Once you get the prime factorized form, number of factors is equal to add 1 to the powers and multiply them to get your answer as 24. Okay, this is easy. But once you prime factorize, there is this kind of question which can be asked. With what least natural number should 360 is not a perfect square, but with what number should it be multiplied to make it a perfect square? Okay, 360 should be multiplied with some number to make it a perfect square. You multiply with 360, it will become a perfect square. But still he is asking us to find least possible natural number. So what we'll do is, we know the prime factorized form. For such questions, you need to prime factorize the number first. Even perfect cube also, you'll need to prime factorize the number first. Now what do you mean by a perfect square? What do you mean by a perfect square? A perfect square is a number which is multiplied with itself. A number multiplied with itself is called a perfect square. Is that right? So can I say that perfect square is the number which can be divided into 2 equal parts? Perfect square is the number which can be divided into 2 equal parts. Can I say that? So if perfect square is a number which can be divided into 2 equal parts, that's what we'll check part by part. 2 cube, can you divide that into 2 equal parts? See, 2 square one side, 2 is left on the other side. So you need another 2. Then if you multiply with 2, it becomes 2 power 4, where it can be divided as 2 square and 2 square. Okay, so 2 cube cannot be divided into 2 equal parts. So you will need a 2. Then 3 square, can it be divided into 2 equal parts? Yes. So leave that. 5 power 1, can it be divided into 2 equal parts? No, we need another 5. So if you multiply 2 into 5, 10, it will become a perfect square. Is it understood? Similarly, perfect cube is a number which can be divided into 3 equal parts. Perfect cube is a number which can be divided into 3 equal parts. Now 2 cube, can that be divided into 3 equal parts? Yes. So leave that. 3 square, can that be divided into 3 equal parts? No. What do we need? We need another 3. Similarly, 5 power 1, can that be divided into 3 equal parts? No. What do we need? We need 2 5s. Then it becomes 5 cube and you can divide among 3 people. Okay. So this is 3 into 5 into 5, 75. If you multiply with 360 with 75, then it becomes a perfect cube. You multiply 360 with 75, it becomes a perfect cube. Assume there are 100 switches numbered 1 to 100. Okay, there are 100 switches. Okay, which are in off position. And you know how a switch works, right? So if there's a switch and you press it, it turns on. And you press it again, it turns off. You press it again, it turns on. So there are 100 switches in a line and all are in off position. Okay. Then a person comes, the first person, he goes on pressing all the switches, 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. He goes on pressing all the switches up to 100. So what did he do? What did he do? He turned them on. Okay. So he turned all the 100 switches on. Then a second fellow comes. He goes on pressing only the multiples of 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, so on up to 100. So when the second fellow, he presses those switches, only the even numbers which are already turned on by the first fellow becomes off. So now odd numbers are in on position and even numbers are in off position. Then a third fellow comes, he goes on pressing the multiples of 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12, so on up to 99. Okay. Similarly, then a fourth fellow comes. He goes on pressing the multiples of 4, 4, 8, 12, so on up to 100. So on, 100 people come and go. Now your question is to find how many switches would be in the on state. Okay, I'm repeating the question again. There are 100 switches in off position and then first fellow comes, he goes on pressing all the 100 switches. So the second fellow only touches the multiples of 2. The third fellow touches the multiples of 3. The fourth fellow touches the multiples of 4 and so on. 100 people come and go. Finally, how many switches are in the on position? That's the question. Now I want you to think about it for a minute. I'll give you a minute to solve it and then I'll answer it for you. Okay. Or it will be easier if you assume there are 5 or 10 switches, manually try it out so that you can find out. That's what we do, right? When large numbers are given, you'll have to focus on smaller things. See, let's assume a switch number 12. Now, which fellows touch switch number 12? The first fellow touches it, the second fellow, the third fellow, the fourth fellow, the sixth fellow, and the 12th fellow. Now, these are the persons who are touching switch number 12. Now, if we take switch number 18, the first fellow touches it, the second fellow touches it, the third fellow, the sixth fellow, the ninth fellow, and the 18th fellow. So, if you observe these, what are these to 12 and what are these to 18? They are factors, right? Because the persons are touching the switches as multiples. For the switch, the persons will be factors. So, conclusion number 1, what do we understand? We understand that every switch is being touched by its factors only. This is conclusion number 1. Okay. Then conclusion number 2. See, let's understand if this fellow turns it on, this fellow turns it off. On, off, on, off. Similarly, this fellow turns it on, this fellow turns it off. On, off, on, off. So the second conclusion is that if there are an even number of factors, it will be in off position. If there are odd number of factors, it will be in on position. So for on to be there, we need an odd number of factors. This is what we'll have to understand. This is conclusion number 2. So for the switch to be on, we'll need an odd number of factors. Then what kind of numbers have odd number of factors? See, whenever you write something, 24, okay, I'm writing 24. 1 into 24, 2 into 12, 3 into 8, 4 into 6. See, whenever you're writing something like this, you're writing in pairs. When you're writing in pairs, you'll always get an even number of factors. To get an odd number of factors, you should have the same number in both the places, and then you will have an even number of factors here, and this will only be considered as one factor. So for odd number of factors, you will need the same number in both the places. If a number is being multiplied with itself, what are such numbers called? They call perfect squares. So conclusion number 3 is that perfect squares have odd number of factors. Perfect squares have odd number of factors. So from 1 to 100, you have 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, and 100. Now these 10 switches would be in the on position, rest all are off. For example, I'll write them for you. If we are writing the factors for 36, that's 1 into 36, 2 into 18, 3 into 12, 4 into 9, and 6 into 6. Look at this, how many factors are there? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 factors. See, since it has an odd number of factors, once the first fellow turns it on, this fellow turns it off. On, off, on, off, on, off, and finally it will be in the on position. That's how. Is that clear? Then let's get back to the next question. Number system. See, number systems, what we use regularly is called a decimal system, because we take the base as 10 and we use the digits from 0 to 9. So we only use digits from 0 to 9, and these 10 digits are only what we use. So it's called a decimal system. That's the reason whenever you're adding numbers like this, 246 and 318, when you're adding them, 6 plus 8, once you get 6 plus 8 as 14, you take 10 to the as carry, and the remaining 4 is written here. Similarly, when you're subtracting, okay, 253 minus 147. Now 7 does not go in 3, so we bring a carry, this will become 4, and when we borrow, 3 becomes 13, because when we borrow something from side, a 10 is being added. Okay, because this is decimal system, 10 is being added. From 13 you subtract 7, you get 6 here, 4 minus 4 is 0, 2 minus 1 is 1. So this is how you find the answer, right? This is the decimal system, where when you carry something, you carry 10, and when you borrow something, 10 is being borrowed. Everything is in system of 10 only, because what is this number? This number is 367, because this is 10 power 0 ones place, this is 10 power 1 tens place, and this is 10 square hundreds place. Decimal system, so this is 10 power 0 ones place, tens place, and hundreds place. So this becomes 3 into 100, 300 plus 6 into 10, 60, and 7 into 1, 7. So that's how you get 367. Okay. Now we have to understand that there are different systems. Okay. In number systems, there are other systems also, like binary, hexadecimal, octal. Okay. So use that. To use them, what we'll have to do is, if somebody gives you a question to convert binary to a hexadecimal system. Binary is base 2, hexadecimal is base 16. What we do is, we always take decimal system as the base. So decimal system is the bridge. So first we will have to convert binary into decimal, and then we'll have to convert decimal into hexadecimal. So we will have to learn to convert any system into decimal, and from decimal to any system, and then we'll be able to solve problems. Is that understood? Okay, there's nothing to copy here. This is just for your understanding. We'll go to the next page. Now these are some examples. See, just because I wrote base 2, base 7, base 8, base 10, base 12, and base 16 doesn't mean you can't use the other numbers. You can use any bases, okay? Any bases, questions on any base can be given. So, but these are the most important ones. So that's the reason I'm using these. Binary is base 2, zeros and ones are used. Septal is base 7, 0 to 6, 7 digits are being used. Okay. Octal is base 8, 0 to 7 are being used. In base 8, you do not have 8. Decimal system may from 0 to 9, base 10. Duodecimal is base 12. You use from 0 to 9, that's 10 digits, and A comma B. A's value is 10 and B's value is 11. A is considered to be 10 and B is considered to be 11. Hexadecimal or hexadecimal both means the same thing, and it's base 16. Okay, and base 16 has 0 to 9 10 digits, and A to F there will be 6 letters. The value of A is 10, the value of B is 11, value of C is 12, D 13, E 14, and F 15. Base 16 ends at 15, base 12 ends at 11, base 10 ends at 9, base 8 ends at 7, base 7 ends at 6. It goes on like that. Okay. Now let's learn to convert from any system to decimal. For example, I'll take 23 base 6 and you'll have to convert into decimal system, which is base 10. This is the question. 23 base 6 to decimal system base 10. You'll have to convert. Now 23 in base 6 as in decimal, this will be 6 power 0 and this will be 6 power 1. In decimals, we take 10 power 0, 10 power 1, ones, tens and hundreds place, thousands place, so on. No. So similarly, base 6 mein this will become 6 power 0 and this will become 6 power 1. So that's 2 into 6 power 1 plus 3 into 6 power 0. That's equal to 2 6 are 12 plus 3 into anything power 0 is 1. That's equal to 15. So 23 base 6 is equal to 15 base 10. That's the answer. Is that understood? Let's take one more example. 110,101 base 2, you'll have to convert it into decimal system. Okay, first 110,101. As I told you, starting from the right hand side, 2 power 0, this is 2 power 1, this is 2 square, this is 2 cube, this is 2 power 4, and this is 2 power 5. So 1 into 2 power 5 is 32, plus 1 into 2 power 4 is 16, plus 1 into 2 square is 4, plus 1 into 2 power 0 is 1. So this is 48, 52 and 53. So that's equal to 53 base 10. Now if I want to convert 67 base 10 into base 2 and I want to convert 283 base 10 into base 6. Okay, let's see. First, 67 base 10 should be converted into base 2. So what you'll have to do is 67 should be divided by 2. How many times does 2 go into 67? It goes 33 times and there's a remainder of 1. The remainder should be written right beside. Then how many times does 2 go into 33? It goes 16 times and the remainder is 1. How many times does 2 go into 16? 8 times, remainder is 0. How many times does 2 go into 8? 4 times, remainder is 0. How many times does 2 go into 4? 2 times, remainder is 0. How many times does 2 go into 2? 1 time and remainder is 0. See, you can't divide it any further, right? Once you get this, you will have to take the numbers in the reverse order. So 1 0 0 0 0 1 1 base 2 is the answer. You'll have to take it in the reverse order. Okay. Now let's solve it for 283 base 10 and convert it into base 6. 283 divide by 6. 28, this goes 4 times, 4 3, then that goes 7 times, the remainder is 1. 6, how many times does it go? 6 sevens are 42. So it goes 7 times, 42 gone, the remainder is 5. Now how many times does 6 go into 7? 1 time and the remainder is 1. That's all. Now take it in the reverse order. 1151 base 6 is the answer. Now look at the question. 637 base 9 plus 528 base 9. See, both are in base 9. There are two ways of solving it. One way is to convert this into decimal. Convert this into decimal and then add them up. You're gonna get an answer in decimal. And according to the options, most probably it will be in base 9 only. You'll have to convert this into base 9 again. Okay, I hope you understand. Converting base 9 into base 10, base 9 into base 10, because decimals are easy for our calculations, and then you add them up, you'll get an answer in decimal. You'll have to convert that into base 9 again. Okay, so this is a long procedure. Okay, if in case of multiplications and divisions, maybe we can convert everything into decimals and then solve problems. But since addition is easy and they're still in base 9, what we can do is we'll take the numbers directly. 637, 528. You have to add them up. Generally, when you add 7 and 8, you get 15. And when you're adding in base 10, you take 10 as carry and you write the remaining 5 here. But since this is base 9 calculations, base 9, what we do is once you add 7 plus 8, 15, you take 9. There's one 9, right? That one will go as carry. So 9 has gone as carry. So out of 15, 9 went away. How much is left? 6. Out of 15, if 9 goes away, 9 is gone as carry and you have 6 left. Now 1 plus 3 plus 2 is what? It's 6. 6 plus 5 is 11. But since we are talking about base 9, 1 9 goes as carry and you're left with 2. So you've got this sum to be 11. So 9, when you take out 9 away, you're left with 2. 2 is here. The one we took away as carry, that becomes as 1. And 1266 base 9 is the answer. 1266 base 9. See, I'll do one more calculation here. It'll make things easier for you, okay? Let's add 258 and 699A, okay? This is in base 12 and this is in base 12. And we want the answer in base 12, okay? Let's see. 8 plus A, what is the value of A? A is 10. So 8 plus A, 10, this is a total of 18. 12 goes as carry, you're left with 6. 1 plus 5 plus 9 is 15. Out of 15, the base is 12. So 1 carry is gone and you're left with 3. So because 12 is left, you have 3. And 6 plus 2 plus 1 is 9. So this is equal to 9, 3, 6 base 12. Okay. Now let's take 3 numbers. 255 base 6. 144 base 6, 325 base 6. Let's add them up. Plus 5 plus 4 plus 5. How much is that? That's 14. When you're talking about base 6, okay, generally when you're doing the calculations in decimals, when you get the sum as 23, you keep 3 there and you take 20 as 2 to the carry, right? Here, the same logic applies. So you have the sum as 14. How many times does 6 go? 2 times. So 12 will go aside as carry. So 12 will go as carry and you have 14 here, 12 went away. So 2 is left. Now when you add these, okay, that's 8 plus 5, 13. 13, how many times does 6 go? 2 times. So 12 is left and you're left with 1. Then 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 3, how much is that? That's 8. You're talking about base 6. So there will be a 1 carry, you're left with 2 here. The 1 comes down and 1, 2, 1, 2 base 6 will be the answer. Is that understood? So when you have to just see how many 6s are there and then that will go as carry. The remaining should be written down below. Here as well. You have to see how many times 12 goes. 12 goes 1 time, it went as carry. Subtract 12 and write the remaining here. That's how you add. Clear? I hope this is understood. Now let's go back to our topic. Here, 1266 base 9 is the answer. Now look at subtraction. 386 minus 177 base 12. That's important. You have to subtract. Now 6 minus 7, 7 does not go in 6. So obviously we'll have to borrow. Here, this 8 becomes 7. And when you borrow, because it's base 12, 12 gets added to 6 and it becomes 18. I hope you're catching that. Okay. See, 8 becomes 7 because you're borrowing 1, but that 1 comes here and becomes 12. So 12 plus 6, it becomes 18. 18 minus 7 is what? 11. What's the value of 11? B. 7 minus 7, 0. 3 minus 1, 2. So 20B base 12 is the answer to the second question. Is it understood? 20B base 12 is the answer to the second question. So 6 minus 7, it doesn't happen. So this becomes 7. And when something is borrowed, because it's base 12, 12 should be added. Clear? Now first copy these two and then we'll solve the other two because we need space to solve them. Done? Good. I'm erasing this. Now let's look at the third question. 515 base 7 should be converted into binary. As I already told you, decimal acts as the bridge. So first you'll have to convert that into decimal and then into binary. So 515 base 7. So this is 7 power 0, this is 7 power 1, and this is 7 square. That's equal to 5 into 7 square is 49 plus 1 into 7 plus 5 into 1. 7 power 0 is 1. Now 549s, 540s is 200, 5 nines are 45, that's 245 plus 7 plus 5, 257 base 10. Now you'll have to convert 257 base 10 into binary. So 257 divided by 2. That goes 128 times and the remainder is 1. Right? And then divide by 2. 64, 0. 2, 32, 0. 2, 16, 0. Divided by 2. That's 8, 0. Divided by 2, 4, 0. Divided by 2, 2, 0. Divided by 2, 1 time. And the remainder is 0. You take in the reverse order, that's 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. Base 2. This is the answer. I hope it's clear. First 515 base 7 is converted into decimal. Once you got 257, you're converting that into binary again. There are 7 zeros in between. Okay, copy this down and then we'll solve the next question. See, in the next question, it's base 8 and base 16. And I did not give you options, we do not know which base the question is asked. Let's just convert this into decimal and this into decimal, add them up, and we leave the answer in decimal. Even if they ask us the answer in base 8 or base 16, you know how to convert decimal to base 8 or base 16. That's easy, right? So we'll just, for practice, we'll convert this into base 10 and base 10 and we'll add them up and leave it in decimal itself. Okay. 452 base 8. 452. That's 8 power 0, 8 power 1 and 8 square. So that becomes 4 into 64 plus 5 into 8 plus 2 into 1. Now 464s, when you want to multiply such a number with 4, just double it twice. Okay, 64 double is 128, 128 double is 256. So that's 256 plus 40 plus 2, which is equal to 298 base 10. 298 base 10. Okay, that's the first value. Then we'll convert AE to AE2. Okay, this is 16 power 0, this is 16 power 1, and this is 16 square. Now what's the value of A? That's 10. So you have 10 into 16 square is 256. Plus, what's the value of E? 14 into 16 plus 2 into 1. That's equal to 2560 plus 14 14s is 196 and you'll have to add another 2 more. See, I'm writing this as, or you can use the logic that I taught you yesterday. See, this is into AB into AC where B plus C is 10. So 1 multiplied to the next number is 2 and 4 6 are 24. You get 224. I taught you that model yesterday, okay? Plus 2. That's equal to what? 2786. Okay. So 2786 and 298 should be added and you'll get the answer in decimal system. This is base 10. How do we add 298 to 2786 faster? What we do is we add 300 and we'll subtract 2. That's the easiest way. Okay. So when you want to add 298, you add 300 and subtract 2. So 2786 plus 300 will give you 3086 and 2 subtracted will give you 3084 base 10 as the answer. Units digit. Okay. What you'll have to understand is they'll give you a question like this. If I give you a question like 12 into 37 into 48 into 64. When you multiply, you get a large number here. Okay. And if I ask you to find the units digit, the last digit of the number, what do? We only consider the units places and multiply them. 2 sevens are 14, the last value is 4. 4 eights are 32, the last value is 2. 2 fours are 8. So obviously the answer should be 8. Okay. If you multiply all these values, the large value would have 8 at the last. Okay. 8 at the last. This is what we conclude if the question is like this. But what if the question is like this? 12 power 37, or I'll change that to red. 12 power 37 into 37 power 42 into 48 power 51 into 64 power 24. This is the question. So we need to find the units digit of 12 power 37 into 37 power 42 into 48 power 51 into 64 power 24. Okay. What we do is, first we'll have to find the unit digit of 12 power 37, the units digit of 37 power 42, the units digit of 48 power 51, and the units digit of 64 power 24, and then you'll multiply them to get the answer. That's the idea. Okay. You multiply them to get the answer. Is the idea understood? Once the idea is understood, how to find the units digit of these particular values? Okay. The first point is promote the units digit. See, because even if this particular number is 2 power 37 or 12 power 37 or 412 power 37 or 3412 power 37, the units digit is only affected by this digit, the last one. Before that, whatever numbers are there, we are not bothered. Okay, the units digit is only affected by the last digit. So that is important. So we promote the units digits. Let's get them down to 7, 8, 4. Okay, you get the units digits down. That's your point number 1. Now let's look at point number 2. Now point number 2 mein you will take power as the remainder when power is divided by 4. See, you'll have to divide these powers by 4 and take the remainder. Okay. So 37 divided by 4. What's the remainder? 37 divided by 4. 4 goes 9 times. 36 gone. How much is left? 1. 42 divided by 4. What's the remainder? 4 goes 10 times. 40 gone. How much is left? 2. 51. 4 goes 12 times. 48 gone. How much is left? 3. Now 24. 4 goes 6 times. The remainder is 0. But you can't put 0 here. Okay, because if you put 0 here, you get 4 power 0 and you'll get the units digit as 1, which is not possible. Because 4 is an even number powered will always be an even number. So there comes the third point. Okay, that's 4 here. The third point is when remainder is 0, take 4 as power. So whenever the remainder is 0, you will have to take 4 as the power. Now you might have a doubt. See, in the second point, I said the power should be divided by 4 only. Why should we divide it by 4? The reason for dividing it by 4 is, see, 2 power 1 for 2, 2 power 1 is 2, 2 square is 4, 2 cube is 8, 2 power 4 is 16, 2 power 5 is 32, 2 power 6 is 64, 2 power then 7 is 128, 2 power 8 is 256, 2 power 9 is 512, 2 power 10 is 1024. It goes on and on. Only these 4 gets repeated. Okay, for 3 as well. 3 power 1 is 3, 3 square is 9, 3 cube is 27, 3 power 4 is 81. Then 243, 729, 2197, 6561. It goes on and on. Only these 4 things repeat. For 4 power 1 is 4, 4 square is 16, you end with 6. 4 cube is 64 and 4 power 4 is 256 again. It only has 2 values, but even if you take 4, these 4 will keep on repeating, right? Again, you'll get 4646, 4646. It goes on repeating. So for every digit, okay, 5, you always have 5. You always have 5. So even if I write it as 5 everywhere, okay, the same things will go on repeating. That's the reason every 4 digits, it's always the same. For every number, after 4 powers, it's always the same. That's the reason I asked you to divide it by 4. Okay, any power, you divide it by 4 only, you'll get the answer. That's what you'll have to understand. Okay, any power, divide by 4 and it's okay, you'll get the answer. So 37 divided by 4, you took the remainder, which is 1. 42 by 4, the remainder is 2. 51 by 4, the remainder is 3. 24 by 4, the remainder is 0. And so you took 4 as the value. Now 2 power 1 is 2. 7 square, what's the last digit? 9. 8 cube, what's the last digit? 2. 4 power 4 is 256 here. Anyways, if power 4 you can't do it, you can take 4 square into 4 square. So 4 square is 6. This 6. 6 6 are 36. Again 6. Now let's multiply all these. 2 9s are 18. 8. 8 2s are 16. Last digit is 6. 6 6 are 36. So 6 is your answer. 6. This is your answer. Is that understood? So you'll have to follow my rules. Promote the units digit first. Take the power as the remainder when the power is divided by 4. If the remainder is 0, then take 4 as the power. These are the questions that you need to solve. 77 divided by 4, what's the remainder? 76 gone, right? 76 gone, what's the remainder? 3. 3 power 1 is 3. So that's the answer. Then, first promote the unit digits. 8, 7, 2, 3. Now, 39 divided by 4, 36 gone, 3 is left. 21 divided by 4, 20 gone, 1 is left. 42 divided by 4, 40 gone, 2 is left. 80 divided by 4, the remainder is 0, so you will write 4. Okay, you'll have to multiply these values. 8 cube is 512, you have 2 at the last. 7 power 1 is 7. 2 square is 4. 3 power 4 is 81, so you have 1 at the last. Okay, 2 7s are 14, you have 4 at the last. 4 4s are 16, you have 6 at the last. 6 1s are 6. So that's your answer to the second question. Okay, now let's look at the third one. See, you can solve it by the method that I taught you. 6, 4, 5, 2, 9, and then this is 3, this is 3, this is 2, this is 4, and this is 3. And then 6 cube, 6, 4 cube is 64, you have 4. 5 square is 25, you have 5. 2 power 4 is 16, you have 6. 9 cube is 729, you have 9. See, this is easy. By multiplying, you'll get the answer, but you can use logic, use your brains, okay? You have 5 here. Whenever a number is there with 5 at the end, you always get 5. Then you'll have to check for even numbers. See, there's an even number here. Because there's an even number, 5 combines with an even number to give you the answer as 0. 5 always combines with even numbers to give you the answer as 0. For example, in case there is no even number in the problem, so I'll change these numbers. This is not 6, let it be 7. If this is not 4 and it is 1. If this is not 2 and it's 3. Now there are no even numbers, what will the answer be? The answer will be 5. Because 5 multiplied with any odd number is always 5. So you always get 5 at the end. Okay, that's the logic. That's what you'll have to understand. So whenever a number ends with 5, you have a number ends with 5, you'll have to look for an even number. If there is an even number, the answer is 0. If there are no even numbers, then the answer is 5. Clear? Highest power in a factorial. I hope you understand what a factorial is. N factorial is equal to n, n minus 1, n minus 2, so on, keep on decreasing until 1. So 4 factorial is equal to 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. 6 factorial is equal to 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Goes on like that. 0 factorial is equal to 1. Remember that. 0 factorial is equal to 1. So the question that can be asked will be something like this. They'll ask you to calculate the highest power of 2 in 10 factorial. They'll ask you to calculate the highest power of 2 in 10 factorial. Now let's write 10 factorial first. 10 factorial is nothing but 10 into 9 into 8 into 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. This is 10 factorial. Now if you prime factorize it, prime factorization is breaking up every number. I hope you remember. So 10 is 2 into 5, 9 is 3 into 3, 8 is 2 into 2 into 2, this is 2 into 3, this is 2 into 2. So when you prime factorize, there is 1, 2 here, 3 2's here, 1 here, 4, 5. So you get something like 8. 2 power 8 into 3 power 4 into 5 square into 7 power 1. I know the value, I wrote it down, okay. This is for just your understanding. So here the highest power of 2 is 8. The highest power of 3 is 4. Highest power of 5 is 2. Highest power of 7 is 1. Okay. Or you can manually calculate it. How many 2's are there in 10? There is 1 2 because 2 into 5. There's 1 2 here. How many 2's in 8? There are 3 2's because that's 2 into 2 into 2. How many 2's in 6? There's 1. How many 2's in 4? There are 2. How many 2's here? 1. See, 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5, 5 plus 2 is 7, 7 plus 1 is 8. You got this value? Okay. Now this is easy here. I just want you to understand the meaning of the question. That's the reason I wrote 10 factorial, which is a very small number. But in the exam, there will be larger numbers. Okay. So, or the question can be asked like this. 10 factorial is equal to 2 power k into some value x or a. Okay. What is the maximum possible value of k is the question. See here 10 factorial, we already know that its prime factorized value is 2 power 8 into 3 power 4 into 5 square into 7 power 1, right? I can also write this as 2 power 7 into 3 power 4 into 5 square into 14. The 2 I've brought it here, okay? But this is not giving the highest possible value for k. 2 power k into something, this is a, okay, some other value. But this is not giving you the highest value of 2. So to get the highest value of 2, you have to prime factorize everything and then find the answer, or you can manually calculate. I hope you understood the meaning of the question. So the question can be asked in this way also. 10 factorial is equal to 2 power k into some other value a. What is the maximum possible value of k? That means highest power of 2 in 10 factorial. Now I want you to find the highest power of 2 in 100 factorial. See, when I ask you to find the highest power of 2 in 100 factorial, 100 factorial cannot be prime factorized. Okay, it's a very large number, 100 into 99 into 98 into so on up to 1. Prime factorizing that is very difficult. Okay, so how do we find the highest power of 2 in such large numbers? So this is the way you solve it. 100. How many times does 2 go into 100? 50 times. How many times does 2 go into 50? 25 times. How many times does 2 go into 25? 12 times. Neglect the reminders. Don't bother about the reminders. How many times does 2 go into 12? 6 times. How many times does 2 go into 6? 3 times. How many times does 2 go into 3? 1 time. Leave 100 and add all the other quotients and you'll get your answer. 50 plus 25 is 75. 75 plus 12 is 87. 87 plus 6 is 93. 93 plus 3 is 96. Plus 1, 97 is the answer. I hope it's easy. If I ask you to find the highest power of 3 in 120 factorial, what do? 120. How many 3's are there in 120? 40. How many 3's in 40? 13. How many 3's in 13? 4. How many 3's in 4? 1. Leave 120, add all the others. So 40 plus 13 is 53. 53 plus 4 is 57. 57 plus 1 is 58. That's the answer. This is how you find the highest power of a prime number in some factorial value. You just divide. Successive division, neglecting the remainders, and you add all the quotients. Divide continuously. Neglect reminders and add quotients. That's the logic to find the highest power in a prime number. Why? Because let's look at another question. The highest power of 4 in 100 factorial. Now if I ask you to find the highest power of 4 in 100 factorial, and you do this, 100 by 4, you have 25. How many times does 4 go into 25? 6 times. How many times does 4 go into 6? 1 time. You leave 100 and you add these, you're gonna get 32, which is wrong. It's not possible like that. I'll explain the reason, don't worry, okay? It's not possible like that because, look at this. 10 factorial, 9 into 8 into 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. This is 10 factorial. Now when I ask you to calculate, if I ask you to calculate the highest power of 4 in 10 factorial, okay, you can't do it like this, is what I told you. 10 divided by 4, 2. This is wrong because when you're dividing, you're only looking for 4s. So you will find a 4 here and you'll find another 4 here. Okay, there's no 4 elsewhere. So there's one 4 here and one 4 here and you're counting that. But 4 is not a prime number, it's a composite number. Because it's a composite number, this is 2 into 4 and you already counted the 4, and the remaining 2 will combine with the 2 in 10 and it will become a 4. Similarly, the 2 in 6 will combine with this 2 and it will become another 4. Because 4 is a composite number which can be formed through combining numbers, you can't just look for 4. You can't search for 4. Searching for 4 will give you a wrong answer. Okay, like we did here. So you can't search for 4, you'll have to search for 2's. Because 2 into 2, you combine 2 2's, you get a 4, right? So you'll have to see how a composite number is formed. For prime numbers, you can directly divide. But for composite numbers, you'll have to look for it. So when I ask you to find the highest power of 4 in 100 factorial, you know that 4 is equal to 2 into 2. You combine 2 2's, you get a 4. So then you'll have to find the highest power of 2 in 100 factorial. And then you'll have to divide it by 2. Why should we divide by 2? Because if I have 12 2's with me, how many 4's can be formed? 6 4's can be formed, okay? If I have 20 2's with me, 10 4's can be formed. If I have 25 2's with me, 12 4's can be formed. The other 2 which is left cannot be of any use, okay? So you'll just have to divide by 2 and take the quotient. You don't bother about the remainder, okay? Take the quotient. So we know that highest power of 2 in 100 factor is 97 because we already calculated that. So 97 divided by 2, the answer is what? 48. So 48 is the highest power of 4 in 100 factorial. So I hope you understood now. If I ask you to find highest power of 8, what do? We will find the highest power of 2 and we'll have to divide by 3 because 3 2's combine to form an 8. For example, if I have 6 2's with me, how many 8's can be formed? 2 8's can be formed. If I have 10 2's with me, divide by 3, you have 3 complete 8's. Okay, that's how. So highest power of 8 is 2 cube. 8 is 2 cube. So when you wanna find the highest power of 8, you will have to find the highest power of 2 and divide it by 3. Now if I ask you to find the number of zeros trailing 100 factorial. Find the number of zeros trailing 100 fact. Trailing is nothing but at the end of. Okay. Trailing is nothing but at the end of. So the question is to find the number of zeros at the end of 100 factorial. Okay. Or it means that we will have to find the highest power of 10 in 100 factorial. It means the same. Why? Because if any particular number is multiplied with 10 square, okay, you get 2 zeros at the end. If it's multiplied with 10 power 5, you get 5 zeros at the end. Okay, so it's same as the question that I told you. Okay, 100 factorial is equal to 10 power k into some value. So whatever might be the highest value of k will be the number of zeros. So that is the logic that we are following. So number of zeros at the end of 100 factorial or highest power of 10 in 100 factorial both means the same thing. Now I told you already 10 is a composite number. You can't divide it continuously. Okay. So 10, how is a 10 formed? A 10 can be formed by combining a 2 and a 5. So a 10 can be formed by combining a 2 and a 5. Okay. So these two numbers should combine to form a 10. See here, there's a particular logic that we need to understand. For example, if I tell you that I have 50 shirts and 30 pants, 50 shirts and 30 pants, how many pair of dresses do I have? I'll have 30. Okay. Similarly, if there are 60 boys and 40 girls in a class, 60 boys and 40 girls in a class, how many couples can be formed? Couples. It's 40. So we have to understand that intersections, when you want to combine something, it's always the lower number of possibilities. So if I have 40 shirts and 100 pants, so it will be 40. Okay. Then if there are 50 girls and 30 boys, the number of couples will be 30. It's always the lower number of possibilities. We'll have to look for the lower number of possibilities. In 100 factorial, which would be lower in number, 2s or 5s? 5 is a larger number, so it will be lesser in number. Okay. So we will only calculate the highest power of 5. Let's see. 5 is a prime number, so you can divide directly. 5 goes 20 times. Again, 5 goes into 24 times. So add these 24. So we understood the highest power of 5 is 24 and that's your answer. There will be 24 zeros at the end of 100 factorial. How did we get that? See, 5s I already calculated as 24. So there are 24 5s. Let's talk about 2s. 100 factorial mein the highest power of 2 is 97, which we already know. So I'm using that knowledge here. So in this, when 2s 97 are there and 5s 24 are there, 24 5s will combine with 24 2s and become 24 zeros. The remaining 73 2s are of no use. The remaining 73 2s, you can't get a 0 from that. So you're only looking at 5. So highest power of 10 is nothing but the highest power of 5 and 24 is your answer. Now if I ask you a question like this, what is the highest power of 6? What do we do? 6 is equal to 2 into 3, because 3 is a larger number. It will have lower number of possibilities. So if you calculate highest power of 3, you will get your answer. Is that understood? Similarly, if I ask you to find highest power of 15, we understand that 15 is equal to 3 into 5. So which will have lower number of possibilities? 5. So to get the highest power of 15, you should calculate the highest power of 5. That's how you get the answers. Pattern method. It's called a pattern method because it follows a particular pattern. Okay, the questions would be something like this. What is the remainder when 2 power 67 is divided by 7? What is the remainder when 4 power 93 is divided by 15? What is the remainder when 3 power 91 is divided by 5? Okay, so a small number, large power. A small number and large power. Then what, see, pattern method is for a small number and you have a large power. Let's see how to solve this. First, 2 power 1 divided by 7. What's the remainder? I'm talking about the remainders. 2 power 1 divided by 7. What's the remainder? The remainder is 2. See, you're not dividing 7 by 2. 7 by 2, the remainder would be 1. But when a smaller number is being divided, the remainder will always be the smaller number. See, 2 divided by 7. How many times does 7 go? 0 times. 0, you get the remainder as 2 again. Okay, when a smaller number is divided, you always get the same number as remainder. So 2 power 1 divided by 7, the remainder is 2. 2 square divided by 7, what's the remainder? It's 4. 2 cube divided by 7, what's the remainder? It's 1. Once you get 1 as the remainder, you'll stop. Why do we stop? We stop because the same process would be repeated again and again. For example, we don't need to write all that, but I'm just showing it so that you would understand it better. 2 power 4 divided by 7. 2 power 5. 2 power 6. 2 power 7. See, 2 power 4 is 16. 16 by 7. What's the remainder? 2. 2 power 5 is 32. 32 divided by 7. 28 goes off. You're left with 4. 2 power 6 is 64. 64 divided by 7. 9 sevens are 63 gone. How much is left? 1. 2 power 7 is 128. Okay. 7 17s is 119. And then you have 720s. Okay. 2 power 7 is 128. 126 goes. And you're left with what? 2 again. See, the same 241 gets repeated. 241, 241, 241. It goes on like that. So once you get 1 as the remainder, we will stop because the same pattern gets repeated. So the same pattern gets repeated. So you need not write all this nonsense. So here 2 power 1 the remainder is 2, 2 square the remainder is 4, 2 cube the remainder is 1. Again 2 power 4 the remainder is 2, 2 power 5, 2 power 6, 2 power 7, 2 power 8, 2 power 9. It goes on like that. How many possibilities are here? There are 3 possibilities. First you'll have to look at how many possibilities are there. So there are 3 possibilities. Since there are 3 possibilities, every power divisible by 3 will have 1 as the remainder. Every power divisible by 3 will have 1 as the remainder. So 67, before 67, which number is divisible by 3? Tell me, before 67, which number is divisible by 3? 66. For 66 you get 1, and so 66 you get 1. So 67 you get 2. 2 is the answer. Okay, 67 you get 2. So 2 is the answer. Then here, next one. Find the remainder when 4 power 1 is divided by 15. 4 power 1 is divided by 15. What's the remainder? 4. 4 square divided by 15. What's the remainder? 4 square is 16. Divided by 15, the remainder is 1. You stop there. From there on, everything gets repeated. How many possibilities are there? 2 possibilities are there. 2 possibilities. Okay, since you have 2 possibilities, every power divisible by 2, you'll have 1 as the remainder. 2 square, 2 power 4, 2 power 6, 2 power 8, sorry, every power of 4, okay? So 4 square, 4 power 4, 4 power 6, 4 power 8, so on. What is the number divisible by 2 before 93? It's 92. So for 92, you get 1 again. For 92, you get 1 again. So for 93, this is your answer, 4. Okay. Then the same process. Find the remainders when 3 power 1 is divided by 5. What's the remainder when 3 power 1 is divided by 5? It's 3. What is the remainder when 3 square is divided by 5? It's 9. 9 divided by 5 is 4. 3 cube is 27. 27 divided by 5. What's the remainder? The remainder is 2. 3 power 4, 81 divided by 5. What's the remainder? 81 divided by 5. The remainder is 1. You stop there. How many possibilities are there? 4 possibilities. 4 possibilities, okay? Since you have 4 possibilities, every power, 4th power will have remainder as 1. So 3 power 4, the remainder is 1. 3 power 8, the remainder is 1. 3 power 12, the remainder is 1. Goes on like that. So tell me a number divisible by 4 before 91. 88. So for 88, the remainder is 1. 89, it's 3. 90, it's 4. 91, it will be 2 again. So 2 is the answer here. See, now we'll look at questions where there's a large number and small power. We are looking at questions where large number and small power is there. And to solve these problems, we need to understand a bit about binomial expansion. See, you don't need to by heart this thing, okay? I am just explaining binomial expansion to you to make you understand how I am solving the problem, okay? You don't, even if you don't know this, it's okay. Clear? Just look at it. The binomial expansion of x plus y whole power n, the value is x plus y whole power n is equal to nc0 x power n. See, y is 0 here in the first term. nc1 x power n minus 1 y power 1 plus nc2 x power n minus 2 y power 2 plus so on. Last nc n minus 1 x power 1 y power n minus 1 and ncn y power n. If you observe carefully, in the first term y is 0 and x is n. In the second term y is 1 and x is n minus 1. So as it goes on, x keeps on decreasing. See, last but one term you have x power 1 and the last term x power 0. X is not there at all. So it goes on and y keeps on increasing, and in the last one you have y power n. Clear? I hope this is understood. So in the first term y is not there, in the last term x is not there. X keeps on decreasing, y keeps on increasing. This is the logic here. Now let's see what is the remainder when 629 power 4 is divided by 25. So 629 power 4. Can we write this as 625 plus 4 power 4? We can write it as 625 plus 4 power 4. Why did I take 625? Because that's the number divisible by 25 before 629. Okay, you'll have to break it like that. Before 629, you'll have to find a multiple of 25. So that's 625. So 625 plus 4. Now if you compare, this is x and this is y. Okay, if you compare in this formula, okay, we want the remainder. Okay, see x is 625, right? So when you expand it according to the top formula, everywhere that x is there, because x is 625, in all the terms that x is there with some power, when you divide that by 25, when you are dividing this whole thing 625 plus 4x plus y whole power n, when you want to divide this by 25, it indicates you'll have to divide each of these terms by 25. Each of these terms should be divided by 25. Okay, so you need to understand that when each of these terms are being divided by 25, because x is 625 which is divisible by 25, every term where x is there, the below 25 gets cancelled and the remainder would be 0. So everywhere the remainder would be 0, because when divided by 25, 625 gets cancelled. So remainder is 0 everywhere. So where would you get a remainder? Only at the last term. And what's the last term? NCN is 1. Y power n is 4 power 4. Only this is left. All the other terms you will get the remainder as 0. I hope you're catching up. Okay. So when you write it like this, since every term is being cancelled where x is there, you will have to look for the term where x is not there. So when 625 is not there, this 25 when you're dividing with it cannot get cancelled. So what is left? Y power n, 4 power 4. This you'll have to divide by 25. 4 power 4 is equal to what? 4 power 4 is equal to 256 divided by 25. 256 divided by 25, what's the remainder? 6. That's your answer. Okay, now since I gave you the reason, the second one would be easy. 147 whole cube is equal to, now we need a number divisible by 12 before 147. What is the number divisible by 12? 144. So this is 144 plus 3 whole cube. Now if you want to check, because 144 is x, all the terms get cancelled, what is left? 3 cube. So you'll have to divide 3 cube by 12, which is nothing but 3 cube is 27 divided by 12. What's the remainder? The remainder is 5. This is the answer. Now 1000 divided by 7. 1000 cube is equal to, we need a number divisible by 1000, divisible by 7 below 1000. Okay, I told you this logic yesterday. You'll have to learn to break numbers. In 1000, 700 is definitely divisible, you're left with 300. In 300, 280 is definitely divisible, you're left with 20. In 20, 14 is definitely divisible, you're left with what? 6. So when you divide 1000 by 7, you're left with what? 6. So we understand 994 is definitely divisible by 7 plus 6 whole cube. Now 994 is divisible by 7, so obviously x is divisible. We have to check for 6 cube. 6 cube divided by 7. That's 216 divided by 7. And the answer is 6. 210 goes away. Okay, 730 is 210. You're left with 6. Now the last problem, solve it here. It's easy, no? 34 plus 2 whole power 6. And you will have to check for 2 power 6. And 2 power 6 is equal to what? Sorry, 64. 64 divided by 17 is what we'll have to do. Now 17 goes 3 times, 51. 17 fours is 68. It's crossing it. So 51 gone. How much is left? 13 is left. That's the answer.